Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear
Yes, we
you,
can.
Hlolo.
Oh, okay. So as introduced, my name is Hlologelo Malatji. This morning I'll be presenting on this title, Enhancing Students' Experience in Micro-Practice course through an authentic e-learning framework. This is the course that I teach in the Department of Social Work to third-year students under the social work program. So I have my co-presenters in this presentation or session, Wacango, Kimani, and Nazira, Hoosen, but they won't be presenting. But at the end, should there be questions, they will chip in where they can. As I said, I teach this module in the department. So what we did here, just to give a background, was to redesign this course to incorporate the authentic e-learning framework, mainly to enhance the experiences of the students in the course. So this research is the evaluation of that process that we undertook early this year. Okay, for background, as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the education system. Also the effects was felt differently. Countries with limited resources were mostly affected, and as a result, many educational institutions had to close down. While later, the majority of these institutions they moved to online learning. But that presented a number of challenges for this institution. For example, the relationship that educators and students used to have prior to the academic was impacted by this because of the distance that was brought by the pandemic. And also disciplines such as social work and others, wherein students, apart from the theory that they are expected to gain, were impacted because there was no longer that opportunity wherein they can be in a classroom to learn a certain skills that goes with the discipline, and also issues around resources, especially for those students, for the students that come from remote areas wherein there's limited access to internet, and also learning equipment such as computers. They were most impacted by this transition of moving to online spaces for teaching and learning. So studies or literature shows that there are various ways to improve learning, especially for fields such as social work, wherein students, apart from gaining the theory of that particular field, they may also need to learn a set of skills to be able to operate in that particular field. The authentic e-learning framework is one of those techniques or frameworks that can be incorporated in the learning environment to enhance the learning experience of students, especially in disciplines that are intense, such as social work. So this framework mainly fosters reflection between amongst learners and also with the instructor or the teacher, and also collaborations in project to find solution, and also the use or integration of authentic activities in teaching and learning. In the next slide, I'll go into detail about these elements of authentic learning framework. Okay, so in total, this framework consists of about 9 elements, but other authors, sometimes they have 10, but mainly we have 9 elements when you talk about authentic learning framework. So what is key? The first element is the development of an authentic context. When you talk about an authentic context, we are referring to a situation where in our teaching, we need to ensure that we reflect the real environment, so that what the students learn in the classroom or in our lectures, in a way they are able to relate, and also they see the link with the real world. When we talk about the authentic task, we're also talking about the different activities that we have in our syllabus or curriculum or modules or courses should reflect reflect reality. The students should be able to see the relevance of the task or activities that they are introduced to in the classroom. For example, as many scholars give examples of role plays, that is always ideal in our courses to incorporate role plays so that students can play out real situations that happens in our communities, especially for disciplines and social works, and propose various ways that they can resolve that particular issue. We can also use like problem-based scenarios, and also debates to discuss topical issues. And also, when we're using when we're applying this particular framework, we don't rush for the outcome. There should be a prolonged time, wherein students participate in activities, reflect on those activities over a sustained period of time. And also for element number 4, which is multiple perspectives, students should be exposed to various sources of information, for example, meaning that when we are designing our courses, we should have this in mind. For example, we can incorporate newspaper articles, readings that they can access from the library, so that at least how they see things, like they consider various perspectives, so that at least at the end they are able to make informed decisions, especially in fields such as social work, wherein students are expected to intervene in many social issues that are dominant in our community, so that they can have those different sources to consult over time. And also element number 5 speaks about expert performance. Study shows that the students tend to learn better when they are taught by someone that is considered an expert in that knowledge. Literature highlights that often YouTube videos wherein leading scholars in the field make a presentation on a particular topic, students tend to learn better in those scenarios. And also, if there's someone that in that particular field that is doing well in that space, they have practice in that environment that you expect your student to go and practice, students can benefit from that person or individual, who can be invited to come as a guest lecturer. Okay, the other element is collaboration. Students tend to work better in groups, wherein they are able to discuss how they see things, how they will approach a particular issue and come up with a solution. So this framework also emphasizes the importance of that. And also another element that is key is the element of reflection. Teaching can be overwhelming for students, especially where as a teacher you just deliver content without allowing the students to share what they think of the content that you are delivering. So when you are using this particular model in your teaching, you allow students to process information, reflect, and also discuss choices. So you allow them to make choices while they learn. This takes us back to what we spoke about when you talk about the multiple perspectives, because the students through your teaching will have exposed them to different sources of reading or learning. So it allows students to reflect on those material and make choices as they learn. Another element is the issue of is the element of articulation. Over time, as you teach, you need to allow students your students the opportunity to reflect and also to articulate on how they see or process that information. And you can achieve this by making use of presentation and debates in our teaching. The other elements that I want to highlight, which is element number 9, is the element of scaffolding, of which is very important in teaching. So normally in most of our teaching or my teaching, what I used to do is we tend to approach our teaching as the teacher. You are the expert. You have all the information that the students want. But when you are scaffolding, you tend to move away from that. instead of being regarded as that expert in that field that is expected to share information, you in a way guide students to find solution for whatever they may be asking you. Some scholars in the field, they give this example that, for example, when a student asks you a question, instead of just giving that answer right away, you may ask them a question. The purpose of asking that those follow-up questions is to, in a way, guide them to find a solution to whatever they may be asking you. And also in doing so, you don't necessarily put the student on the spot. You may also bring on board classmates to contribute so that students, because what often happens is that students think they don't know the solution or answer to the problem, But when you start engaging them, challenging their thinking, channeling them in the right direction, they realize that they know the answer to that particular issue. That's what we call scaffolding. And also the issue of affection in teaching and learning. This one is also significant. So without taking more time on these elements, now I just want to highlight a few things around our social work program. The social work degree at VET is offered over 4 years. Is a professional degree which comprises of both theoretical and practice modules. By practice modules, I'm referring to those courses where students are placed in various organizations, mainly to implement what they learn in our theory classes. So in summary, from the first year till the 4th year, our students are introduced to techniques of doing individual works, such as counseling theories, and also the theories of group work, and also how to run a group, and also community work, of which we called macro work. In macro work, we introduce them to the different approaches to running a project, and also the theories that goes with that. So as I said, this particular presentation or research is centered on the macro work, which is community work. As I said, the theory courses, they run parallel to the practice modules, meaning that there's an expectation that our students should be able to apply what they learn in our theory classes in their practicals. So what we did in this particular research was to incorporate the elements that I just spoke about into the macro practice course, which is taught to the 3rd year students. So in this slide, I just want to highlight some can say events which led to the redesign of the course in 2023. So maybe to give context, I started teaching this course in 2023, But over time, I was concerned about student participation in this course, and also the level of our engagement. When you talk about community work, it's something that should stimulate interest in students, because what we address in the course is topics that students are familiar with, But my concern was that students were not necessarily interested. Their participation was concerning, and after lectures, there was no further learning. After a lecture, everything will end there, meaning that there was a poor use of platforms such as Ulwazi. So in towards the end of last year, the course was in a way updated, to address the issues that I just spoke about, such as poor participation and the poor use of technology to complement learning. So various in-class and online activities were introduced to stimulate student interest in the course, and also various assessment techniques. So what this presentation is focused on is to evaluate the student experiences after the course was redesigned and after they've been exposed to the new course. So now I won't speak about the plans for 2025. I'll talk about this later in the presentation. So in the next slide, I just want to highlight the aims of this particular research that we did. Mainly the aim was to establish how the redesign course incorporates the principles of authentic learning in the context of social work education. As I mentioned previously, there are some plans for 2025. So the lessons that were gained from that evaluation, we intend to use that to continue improving the course for 2025. Hopefully there will be further evaluations post this period. So these were our research questions. The first question was, what are the key factors that affect students' engagement and motivation in a social work micro practice course that incorporates this framework? And also, how does the authentic e-learning framework develop student critical thinking, problem solving, and collaboration skills in social work micro practice course? And also we're interested on how do students' prior experiences and knowledge influence their learning outcomes in a social work micro practice course that incorporates this particular framework. So this is how the research unfolded. As I mentioned earlier, that as part of like improving the delivery of the course, various activities were introduced, such as online discussion forums. So this is the source of our data. This was compiled, to check how the student participated in those platforms on Ulwazi. There were also focus group discussions with 3 groups. They were audio recorded. The focus of the groups was to gather data on the student expectations of the course and how they experienced the course that was redesigned, and also because the students were participating in group presentations, posters. This was also taken out, will be analyzed to check how the student fared or performed in this particular activities. Okay, so for this presentation, I'll only be highlighting findings from the focus group discussions. So the data from the focus group was analyzed using the authentic e-learning framework, meaning that after the data was collected, transcribed, myself and Wacango and Nazira went through the transcript and started moving relevant information to the different elements of the framework. So the patterns and relationship between the codes were later scrutinized. So these are some of the findings that emerged from the data. So firstly, like the students shared some concerns around the content of the course and how the courses are assessed. And also because the authentic e-learning framework stresses the importance of ensuring that whatever we teach at least reflects the reality in our communities. There were also some feedback from the student on that, and also on the use of technology in the course. This was also, we also received the feedback on this. Because the framework also stresses collaboration, students also gave some comments on this, and especially on how we can improve this going forward. But also, it is important to highlight that students felt experienced the course differently, especially those that were repeating. They felt like there are some changes on how like the course is delivered, and also the engagement that occurs in class. So in the next slide, I will highlight. I'll go into detail about these themes. In terms of content and assessment scheduling, as I said when I was talking about the structure of the program, this macro practice is one of the theory courses, and it's meant to complement the practice module, wherein the students go to the community to do the work as student social workers or future social workers. So students were concerned that how is the teaching that occurs in the theory course, macro course, does not level very well with the field instruction. They give this comment that for field instruction, they are expected to start early in the year, and when they start, they're supposed to compile the community profiles, needs assessment, and work on project proposals. And this happens very early in the semester. And by this time, as the teacher of the micro practice course, I will not have started addressing these particular topics. So students suggested that this be looked into because at the end of the day, they feel like they are not benefiting much, or whatever they are benefiting in the theory class, they are not able to use it in their practicals, because by the time I teach a particular topic, they've already submitted an assignment as part of their field instruction, so they are not benefiting much. So they give these recommendations that the department should ensure that plans are put in place wherein the theory teachers and the field instruction coordinators meet regularly, to discuss, for example, when should this particular topic be taught and submission dates, so that whatever I teach in the theory in a way complement what they do in their practice part of the program. Okay, so another major feedback that we got, I think we realized that when I started with the presentation, I was saying like we evaluated the integration of authentic e-learning framework, but as I progressed, the E, disappears. So the students also picked on this, that yes, we do have ulwazi, wherein we should a system that we should use to continue our teaching, especially outside the lecture halls. So the student felt that we were not using a platform such as Ulwazi sufficiently. As a result, the activities that were being posted in that platform, student participation was always concerning. So what will happen? You will give the students 2 weeks, for example, to go to log in and participate in a discussion that I will have created that site. So what I will see was that the students will wait till the end, then go in to just write something so that they can get that that mark that is assigned to that particular task. So the student felt that as teachers were just using the bare minimum of what Ulwazi had to offer. They gave example of other disciplines on how like the lecturers use the system and in a way get the attention of them as students. So they said for them to participate fully in that, the space should not be used for reflections, because the activities that I had that students were expected to participate in the platform was mainly reflections. Let's say after teaching a particular topic, I'll post on that platform and ask them what did they think. So they did not really like those type of discussions. They did not see the agency to quickly log in and participate in that. They thought if we are to get their attention, get them to participate actively in that space, we should use those platforms to continue learning. By continuing learning, they meant if I was teaching, let's say, something about community development in class, it would be expected to do something related to that in that space, because what happens with students, they're always concerned about the content that is being delivered. They're always wondering, will this come in an exam? So if whatever is happening in the Ulwazi is just like a sort of reflections, they always look at what is it that they stand to benefit? Will this come in the exam? If not, no, I'll just participate later, so that I can just get that mark. So students, in a way, advise that we consider those type of things. They also mention something around our participation as teachers in those spaces, because how I used to do it, I'll log in once a week just to moderate the discussions, comment where I can. So the students also did not really like that. They want a situation where when someone comments today, a lecturer should be able to quickly go in and also share insights or moderate that particular discussion. So moving along, as I mentioned when I was talking about the elements of authentic learning, one of the elements is collaboration. So to make the course interesting for the students, what I did I assign them to groups. These groups I'm talking about community, because this is a community work modules. So at the beginning of the course, I selected communities, real communities that we have in the country, and assigned them to those communities. So the instruction was that whatever we'll do in the course, they should draw example from those particular communities. Let's say in the course we have an activity where they are supposed to research a community or profile a community. They will need to provide that particular community that I assigned them to, and they were expected to work as groups throughout the course. This was a semester course. I think I did not mention when I was started. So the student had like a different experiences in the groups. The majority of them felt like being a member of the group was not helpful. You know, they did not benefit much from their group membership. You know, some of the students mentioned that they always had to carry the group to avoid failing an assignment or the assessment that was associated with that particular task. You know, because their assignment to the groups was random, they also gave a feedback on that maybe in future students will be allowed to choose a group that they want to be a member of which is not it's not a good idea, because at the end some students in the class may end up without groups, especially those that do not have friends in the class. But students, either way, they commented on this. They want to be allowed the room to choose their own groups in future. You know, so beside these concerns, there were also some students that mentioned positive experiences. You know, they felt like they benefited extensively from other group members. Remember, these students, our students in social work, they come from different communities. So having them in a group and after assigning them in a random manner, you know, they got exposed to different students from different backgrounds. So students appreciated that, because remember, community work as a social worker, you don't know where you'll end up in, you know. So meeting new people from different background is always helpful, because you get to learn about other people, the communities that they come from, and the type of issues that their communities are faced with. This is an extract from one of the focus group discussions. You know, a student commented, "We share a lot of resources. We share lots of information, exam preps, and stuff like that." As I progress with the presentation, this will become clearer. You know, okay. As we continue.
Could you please start wrapping up so that we can
I'm
have a few minutes for questions?
Almost there. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So as I said, when I started, one of the elements of authentic learning is to ensure that whatever we teach, at least the student is relatable. It's something that happens in our communities, so that students are in a way able to see the link between what we teach and the communities that they will be expected to practice in. So our social work students, as I said, like they are expected to do community work in addition from being introduced to theory work. I've already highlighted some of these things that they are expected to do. For example, to profile to come up with a community profile, write the needs assessment, project proposal. You know, so that assignment to different communities at the start of the course appeared to be very helpful to the students, because they got to make sense of what is a community profile using those communities that they were assigned to. And also when they were asked to research the needs of the community, you know, they could easily make sense and find that information from those specific communities. And also the same applies to coming up with a proposal. So as a result, they did not feel challenged when they were now expected to do the same in the field instruction module. So the majority of the students appreciated this practical component of the course, as they felt it prepared them for field instruction. You know, this is an extract from one of the focus group discussions that we did. You know, I think when it comes to the group, completing the assignment showed me how it is like being part of an action committee. Everywhere when you're doing a community work, you're expected to work as a part of a community. This can be community representatives, councillors, or other influential members of the community. Because they were working in that group to research that particular community, the student could see the link between the two. But still, there were some students that felt that the course remained too theoretical. And I don't know how this can even be addressed, because this is a theory course. We have like a standalone theory module, So the students mentioned that they always struggle to choose the most appropriate model for adoption in their community project, So they felt like we're just do the teaching, but we don't really emphasize the practical component of community work. So these were some of the concerns, but there was a lot of appreciation, especially on doing community profiles, needs assessment, and community profiles. So in closing, there was also some feedback around student engagement. The majority of the students felt the course got them engaged in community work. It was mainly because due to those activities that they were expected to do as members of those specific communities that they were assigned to, and also the expected teamwork and collaboration with classmates. They felt it fostered their learning, as they all possess different experiences. It gave them ideas on what they can do in their respective communities and the field instruction module. Okay, so in terms of the next steps, now we need to analyze the online discussions and also the group presentations that the students did as part of the course, mainly to complement the focus group discussions. If time and resources allows, the goal is to incorporate the lessons that were learned from this round of data collection and continue to improve the course for the next group of students for 2025. I think I've reached the end of the presentation. These are our references. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very insightful, and I see that there's quite a lot happening on the chat. Rita, do you want to just come in there?
Thanks, Noelle. Thank you so much, Lulu. And please note the chat was not that we weren't listening to your conversation. We were listening with much intent. And as you were going through, we were making comments on the side to what you were exactly saying. So I think it will hold value for you and your team as well to look at the comments on the chat space. I think there was numerous things that were coming up. So maybe if you open it up for people to have a voice, then maybe they may want to take it in the bigger space. Yeah, maybe somebody on the chat, but the aspects that came out and of note very much so in the last discussion was around the theory idea that you raised, Hlolo, and the idea of students wanting more theory when, as Roshli rightly said, this is a professional practicing course, and it's important for theory and practice. Yeah, and there were other comments, so I'm not too sure if somebody wants to come in with that. However, what was also noted was the absolute value that you gain through the reflections of the students. Maybe Roshni, you want to come in, or somebody else? Harold, you posted something about the idea of theory starting off, in terms of the design as well. Sorry, Moele.
So maybe maybe I can clarify and you can comment. But yeah, so when we curriculate, we should really be curriculating towards applied competencies, which starts with theory often, but it has to end in practice, in applying the theory in practice, that applied competency. So maybe one could look at the way in which the course is structured so that it is not a theory a course, but that it's a course on applied practices, but that rests on theory. So the fact that there is theory in a course is good. but that it should end with only being a theory course is maybe something to look at. Thanks.
Roshni, you can go ahead, and I think after you, we have to move on to the next presentation.
Okay,
Thanks.
I just wanted to invite Dr. Emerson Mayola to enter into this discussion, but maybe to take it offline, to say that maybe the timing of the course should be reconsidered as we recurriculate, because I think what students are saying that if they have the theory, then they could apply in practice, because these social work students do go out into the field and actually engage with this method and use it in a very real world situation. So greater alignment between field instruction and theory, I think, might be something for consideration next year. Thank you.
Yeah, agreed, Prof. Agreed. We can take it offline. Thanks.
Thank you so much, and lovely presentation. I think let's continue it offline. Let's use the Padlet to just continue the discussion.